What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my first official, even though I already did one technically, this is going to be my first official 2022 NFL mock draft. Very early, obviously, but this is 1.0. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off, the Texans earning the #1 pick. Quarterback might make sense here as they will be Deshaun Watson-less after next season. Before next season, but for sure after next season. And I think the pick is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Not only is Kayvon Thibodeaux an extremely talented pass rusher, he's up there with, the Nick Bosa, the Jadeveon Clowney of the last 10 years. But, if you look at the Texans' track record of #1 picks, you have David Carr, Mario Edwards, and then Jadeveon Clowney. They very much like picking edge rushers, even if they don't have that quarterback. And in this draft, it's going to go kind of weird from having 4 guys who could go #1 to, of course, we all knew it was Trevor Lawrence, but any of those guys could have been the first pick in their own class. I don't think there's a single one in here that really, as of right now, deserves to be the first overall pick. Kayvon Thibodeaux, on the other hand, is an extremely talented pass rusher. #1 on my big board as of right now. Great size, and I really like him as the #1 pick here to the Texans. Moving on to #2, we have the Eagles. They're going to be taking Derek Stingley out of LSU. One of the better corners in the last 10 years, and personally the best corner that I've ever scouted. This dude is elite. This dude is elite. When it comes to just coverage, he's great in the run game as well. He's one of the best man corners I've seen. Reminds me a lot of Jalen Ramsey, actually, in a way. And this is a guy that I think, day one could make an immediate impact. The Eagles, again, they could be taking that quarterback, but maybe Jamie Newman works out for them because we all know they don't like Jalen Hurts. Or maybe they get Deshaun Watson. That's the main trade talk right now, is Deshaun Watson to the Eagles. So, I think regardless, they're going to need some help in the secondary. I think Darius Slay has one more year after next season on his contract with the Eagles. So, you're going to put Derek Stingley and Darius Slay back there together. That's going to be an elite duo. Not the most physical guy, and has dealt with a little bit of injuries recently, but still a fantastic player, and he's my #2 on my big board. So, yeah, crazy good player. Then #3, the Lions, going to be taking, in my opinion, the best quarterback from this class, and Spencer Rattler. Does not have the best size. His arm, I think it's a little overrated. It's not a bad arm per se, but I don't think it's not as elite as everyone says. At times, though, his accuracy is very good. It's almost like dots. Pocket presence is very good. He's very good at escaping a pocket, and just as a passer all around, he's a very good quarterback. I think 3 is very appropriate for him as the top quarterback. He could slip in down in the later rounds based off this year. He could be the #1 overall pick. It really depends, but I do think the best quarterback in this draft class is Spencer Rattler. And although I think Sam Howell is a much better fit on the Lions, I just think Spencer Rattler is a much better quarterback, and he's going to go here to the Lions looking for their quarterback of the future. Then #4, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be taking Kyle Hamilton. Maybe a surprise for most of you to see the Raiders down here at 4. That's just kind of how things played out. However, at 4, they get a fantastic defensive back in Kyle Hamilton. It was really tough for me to determine whether I liked Derek Stingley or Kyle Hamilton better. I ended up going with Derek Stingley just because I think there's a bit more of immediate impact with him. Kyle Hamilton, though, I think will be an amazing player in the NFL. He's got incredible size for a safety, and what's even weirder is that for his size, he is fast, he's elite in coverage, he's got insane athleticism, he's a super strong safety. Literally, at this point, you're nitpicking with the fact that at times he makes stupid decisions, but he's a young college player. This dude is the all-around package. Really, if I had my way, I might take this guy #1 overall because he is just that kind of a talent. People are going to say, a safety in the top 5. It's happened before, Jamal Adams. And this guy is, again, one of the best safeties I've ever looked at, one of the best defensive backs I've ever looked at. I really like Kyle Hamilton. I don't think he'll make that immediate impact like Derek Stingley, which is why he's #3 and not #2. But he's still a fantastic player and a great pick here for the Raiders. Then at 5, the Bengals are going to grab their offensive line help in Evan Neal. Now, this is a prediction. I definitely don't think he's going I wouldn't say he would go number 5 right now. He's definitely not played like it, but he shows a lot of promise. Very, very powerful blocker and insane athleticism. And like I said, a ton of upside. The size is also something to look at as well. Very big guy. But what's weird is for his power and his size, he lacks bare strength. The Hail Mary podcast just pointed this out to me the other day, but he gets put on his butt a lot. And, that's looking, hopefully he can go move away from that, but he gets put on his butt a lot. And maybe, I think part of that's from the stance. I think his footwork isn't horrible, but it's definitely not good. Overall, I think he can still be the top tackle easily in this class, and I think the Bengals get a fantastic guy in here to replace Riley Reef. So then at number 6, the Jaguars are going to take Zach Harrison. This is a guy that, when I did my last mock, I had him, I think, around 15, 16. And that was kind of like where he is right now for me. I think he's a mid first rounder right now, but I think this guy might go off this season and be like a top 10, probably top 10, maybe even top 5 pick. And honestly, if he has a good enough year, can be maybe even that number 1 edge rusher over a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau, because Zach Harrison does have that potential. He's so versatile to where he can play edge rusher standing up or hand in the dirt. He can play that defensive end 4-3 or 3-4. If he even gained a little bit of weight, he could play defensive tackle. Like, this dude is the definition of versatility on the pass rush. Insane power, but also very, very athletic and great speed. And look at the size. I mean, 6'6", 265. This dude is an insane player. The one weakness is that I don't think he has the best arsenal of pass rush moves, which is what kind of prevents him from making that production. But he can take that big step this year, and I really like Zach Harrison. So he's here at number 6 to the Jaguars. Then at number 7, Giants taking Sam Howell. I think the main reason that's going to keep him, I mean, not even just out of the playoffs, but, more than a 5-win team is Daniel Jones. I really think he's going to hold the team back. They upgraded at wide receiver. I don't think that's going to matter when you have Daniel Jones throwing you the ball. And I think they're going to see that and be like, well, we're a quarterback away. And at that point, at 7, landing a guy like Sam Howell is great value. Even though, I don't think he's as great as everyone says. I don't think he should be the first pick. Still a great quarterback. He's undersized, honestly. He's not like Kyler Murray small, but the thing is like he's a pocket passer. And that's all he's really shown us so far. And I really don't like my pocket passers being that undersized. If you're more of a scrambling type guy, then sure, I don't care what size you are. But 6'1" and you're a pocket passer. Also something to note, he's losing literally all his weapons this year. Daz Newsome, both his running backs, the other receiver I can't think of right now. He's got a very talented arm. Again, very good accuracy, nice pocket presence. He really does have a very good arm. He is very accurate. But I wonder if his lack of weapons this year is going to hurt him. And, as just a pocket passer, his size is not favorable. But I think at 7, though, it's still a good pick for the quarterback-needy Giants. Then at 8, we have John Mechie to the Panthers. And, I said this last time, and I'll say it again. I think out of the previous 5 Alabama receivers, so Mechie, Smith, Waddle, Judy, and Ruggs, I think John Mechie could have the best year out of all of them. And that's considering Devontae Smith just had a historical receiving season. This dude is explosive. He has a ton of upside. I feel like he's just waiting to be that number 1 receiver so he can break out. His routes are just as good as Judy was, and he's just as elusive as Waddle. His hands are a little bit questionable at times. He drops some passes every now and then. And how does he truly handle being that number 1 receiver? But, I mean, look at his production as being like a number 3, number 4, number 5 even wide receiver. What happens when you put him in number 1? I think this guy, he could, depending on the quarterback, how they play, he could be maybe one of the best players in college football. And I have him at 8 right now to the Panthers, but he could go a heck of a lot higher than that. I really like John Mechie. So then at 9, we have DeMarvin Leal, a bit more of a predictive pick. As same thing with Zach Harrison. I have him, mid first round pick right now. But DeMarvin Leal is one of those guys that he's either going to really rise up, I feel, somewhere to the top 10, or he could drop to the second round. He really has that upside, but also that lack of a high floor, really. really good moves. I love his arsenal of moves. He's very strong and has very good, nice size. He can really play. I think he's more of a defensive end, but I guess if he really wanted to, if he lost some weight, could play outside linebacker. Um, but does he really fit any position? Like he's really lacking the size, I think, to be a true like 4-3 defensive lineman. And he definitely doesn't play like he has the size. But if you make him a 3-4 defensive end, I think that's probably where he fits the best. But even is that really such a good fit? Like I said, he'd have to lose a lot of weight, but I guess he could play outside linebacker. Rather than it being versatility, you can maybe almost more look at it like, is he really a positionless player, or does he just not fit any position? Overall, though, again, another guy that can have a great year if he plays up to his potential. And he's my inside defensive lineman. That's what I'm calling him right now. I think he's going to play, more of that maybe defensive interior guy, depending on how they use him this year. But right here at number 9 for the Falcons, I think it's a good pick and deal. Then at 10, the Vikings picking up Ahmad Gardner. Yeah, this guy's very solid. I hadn't looked at him very much before. The only corner I really knew about in this class, besides Derek Stingley, was Khair Alam, which is why I had him above Ahmad Gardner before. But after I've looked at him just a little bit now, Ahmad Gardner is a very talented corner. He's got really nice size, actually, for the position. And with that, he's a pretty lengthy guy. He's got really nice hands. Great man coverage for that length. He's one of those guys I would describe as sticky, and he's a very smart player. But where he does lack is, that speed is definitely not the best. If you're having a guy like Tyreek Hill, Henry Ruggs, he will get beat pretty easily downfield. And he's definitely not as physical as I would like him to be, given his size and his length, but still a very, very talented corner. And I really like him here at number 10, the Vikings, who are going to need corners pretty soon. Then at 11, the Cowboys picking up Khair Alam. They still need corner help. I didn't like the Kelvin Joseph pick. He might be a nice fit, but I don't really see him as anything more than a number 3 option for them. And I have no idea who the other corner who they took. So I really like Khair Alam here. I think he's a very nice fit. Again, got very nice size. He's very athletic. He's very smart. He just doesn't have that, that speed or that physicality that I would really like from him. And I do like Ahmad Gardner a bit more, which is why he goes first. But Khair Alam, still a great pick here to the Cowboys. Reminds me a lot of C.J. Henderson, actually, in fact. A bit more lengthy C.J. Henderson, former Florida Gator. So Khair Alam here to the Cowboys, number 11. Then at 12, we're going to have the Jets picking up Christian Harris, a very, very talented linebacker out of Alabama. I think he's kind of ready to take that, really that front of that Alabama defense this year. Very nice size as well. He plays bigger than he is. He's very, very physical as well, which I love, and he's a very good coverage linebacker, and that's not to say he's a bad run linebacker at all. He's still very talented there as well. Where he does lack is his speed and athleticism. He's not the most athletic guy. He's not going to cover the entire field, but he will lock down that center of the field right there, and I think that's something the Jets could really use, and so I really like Christian Harris here to the Jets. Then at 13, Desmond Ridder to the Steelers, and the Steelers need to pick up quarterback at some point during next offseason, whether it's free agency or the draft. I'm surprised Big Ben's really even coming back this last year, to be honest. So, especially after this year, I definitely feel like he's going to retire. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is the answer. And I do like Desmond Ridder. I think he could move up into, that quarterback number 1 spot. It's really open for literally any quarterback to take this year. And I definitely think he could move up. Maybe I like him a bit more than others. I think Cincinnati might even make the playoffs, college football playoffs this year, which is maybe a bit of an unpopular take, but really nice arm talent. When he's throwing it downfield, he makes it look easy. And extending the play, watching him extend plays is just so fun. But at times, he just makes dumb passes. It's almost like he's just overconfident and just forces these passes that are just never going to work. And it also kind of feels like at the same time he's held back a bit by the Cincinnati team. I think maybe if he had a bit better talent around him, people would really see the quarterback he is. I do really like Desmond Ridder, and I think he can get up into that number 1 spot. Also, correct me, is it Ritter or Ryder? I'm pretty sure it's Ritter, but I keep saying Ryder. So let me know down below. Number 14, the Packers are going to be picking up Chris Olave. You got to get a wide receiver at some point. They can't keep being idiots in the draft. Like, you got to at some point, even though Aaron Rodgers won't be here anymore, you got to take a receiver, man. And I think Chris Olave is a fantastic fit in that Packers offense. He's not the biggest guy, but he's not the smallest guy in the world. Plays like his size, but very, very nice route running. Maybe the best route running in college football besides Mechie. Very nice hands, and just as a catching talent, very good. Where he kind of lacks is, that run after the catch ability. He's not very elusive, and he's not got the best speed, but, that's why you got Devontae Adams. He's your run after the catch, elusive receiver. Chris Olave is there to be your possession guy and your downfield threat, which Devontae Adams can do, of course, but I do really like Chris Olave on this Packers team, and I like him here at 14. And then Chris Olave's teammate at number 15 to the Saints. Now, even though he's my wide receiver at number 5, 23 on the big board, I have him here at number 15 because I think he's just such a fantastic fit with this Saints offense. Another team that's going to need a receiver pretty badly next year. You have Michael Thomas and literally no one else. And, Michael Thomas is your short possession guy. Garrett Wilson, he's super athletic, very high upside, and a great route runner. Can run downfield pretty well as well. Drops a bit more passes than you'd like, and he has not put up the best production, that's for sure. But this could be a breakout year for him, even with Chris Olave as their number 1 guy. I think Garrett Wilson could break out. Maybe he'll go back for another season because I'm pretty sure he is a junior. But I still do like Garrett Wilson. I think he's a fantastic fit in the Saints offense, so I like him here at 15. Then at 16, Drake Jackson to the Eagles. I'm not really getting the hype behind Drake Jackson. I think he's a good edge rusher, but I don't think he's nearly as good as everyone else is saying. He's a very quick edge rusher, and for that nice speed, he has pretty good power as well. He's an all-around pass rusher, but run defending is very, very questionable. He is not the best tackler, and, I don't feel like he has that much of an arsenal with pass rush moves either. He relies on his power and his quickness, and that's pretty much it. That's what I saw a lot of people hating on Azeez Ojulari for, and I don't see that with Ojulari. I definitely see that here. And also, a lot of people are saying he's super versatile, but I feel like he can only play hands in the dirt. He just really doesn't seem like a guy that can play standing up to me, which kind of limits what he can do. And I really, again, couldn't tell you exactly where he would play, whether it be a 3-4, 4-3 defensive end. I like him. He's got some upside, and I do like, his pass rush, but beyond that, I don't see why everyone else is so crazy about him. I know I'm sounding like I'm hating him right now. He's still here at number 16. He's still my number 21 player. I just don't get why everyone's so hyped about him. Then at 17, the Broncos going to take Keaton Slovis. I got flamed in the last video because I know now Keaton Slovis was not a 5-star recruit. I've looked at it. He was a 3-star recruit. I know now. If the Broncos aren't in the playoffs at this point, you can immediately look at Drew Lock and say, you're not it. This is his last chance. If he doesn't do well with what he's been given, he's never going to be the guy. And so at this point, if the Broncos haven't made the playoffs somehow, it's because of the quarterback, and you're just going to take whoever's the best quarterback available. In this case, it's Keaton Slovis. Again, it could be completely someone else by actual draft time next year, but very athletic quarterback, great processing and decision-making. Wow, I can't talk. And, he's got a really nice arm, but I think it's more of, his zip. He doesn't necessarily have the elite arm strength that, say, Drew Lock has, for example, but really nice zip in his passes. Now, at times, his accuracy is very questionable. Although he is a good decision maker and a great processor, he just straight up whiffs on passes at time. And also, he's not the smallest guy. He's not Sam Howell or Spencer Rattler small, but he's still a little bit undersized for that pro-style quarterback, and I don't think he has the biggest ceiling in the world. I do think he has one of the more lower ceilings, but the Broncos are one of those teams where they just need at least a capable quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl and stuff, and I just think it's the pick that makes the most sense here, and so I like Keaton Slovis here, the Broncos, if they don't make the playoffs, or if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. Then at 18, the Eagles picking with their last pick of the first round, their third, and Eagles are going to go George Pickens. I'm a big fan of George Pickens. Not number one receiver like everyone else, but still very talented. He's got great size. He's super athletic, great hands, very physical, and a great route tree, but he just kind of suffers from that lack of speed. And also just doesn't have that run after the catch ability, but still a fantastic receiver. They picked Devontae Smith, but they still need to upgrade that receiver unit. And I really like George Pickens here, and I think he'd be great in an Eagles jersey. So then at 19, we have Seven Banks to the Jets with their second pick of the first round. Really focusing on the defense here. They have a lot of defensive free agents next year, and they need to address the corner position. And I really like Seven Banks here. I think he's a great fit. A bit of a smaller guy. He definitely plays like he's a bit of a smaller guy, even though he's not. But because of that, he is a very quick guy. Definitely better at zone, but shows flashes in his man coverage. Great hands as well. Almost gets a little grabby at times, which you kind of want to work on. But the one thing I can kind of say is that, again, he has that small build, even though he's not a small guy, and he's not the most physical, but there are a few plays where he just looks confused, like he never got told what his zone assignment was, which, maybe they can coach that out of him, but he just looks confused sometimes on the field. If he could fix that issue, he'd be probably a top 15 pick, but right now he's here at number 19. Then at 20, Tyler Linderbaum to the Giants with their second pick of the first round. They're losing a lot of inside offensive linemen next year. They're losing Zach Fulton and their other guard that I'm forgetting the name of right now. Tyler Linderbaum plays center, and he can even go in there and play center, replace Nick Martin. But he can play guard just as well. Maybe a guy that I'm a bit higher on than most people. He is very, very raw, yes, and is not the best athlete by a mile. And because he is raw, does still have a pretty weak stance. But he is a very, very, very physical blocker. There's just this ferocity in this guy when he's blocking. Super strong as well. And because he is so raw, there's a lot of upside here. And I think, 2-3 years after the draft, he could be already like a top 10, maybe even top 5 center in the NFL. He has that kind of an upside. I think it makes sense here for the Giants to get some pass protection for your new quarterback, and I like the pick here of Linderbaum to the Giants. Then 21, Washington taking Malik Willis out of Liberty. Malik Willis, big upside. Probably the most upside out of any quarterback in this class. At the same time, very low, very, very low floor. He acts raw, even though he's really not. The competition isn't going to be the best there at Liberty, obviously. It won't be bad, but his accuracy is sometimes questionable, and he's not a pro-style quarterback, but his size is at least still something to notice. It's not going to detract from his game because he has an absolute cannon of an arm, a great processor. He's super, super athletic. I'm talking Michael Vick athleticism. He makes big plays, and they're so exciting to watch. And like I said, just so much upside on him. I think for Washington, not only at this point are you taking, in my opinion right now, the last first-round worthy quarterback, but you're taking a super, super high upside guy, and it's a bit of a risk for sure. But I think he's that guy that can definitely get you over that hump if you really hit on him. I think he fits that Washington scheme really well. Obviously they'll have to change it up a little bit because they'll be going from a very immobile quarterback to a super mobile. But I do really like him in this scheme, and I just think that upside is worth taking, especially, when you can get him in the first round. So I like him here to Washington. 22, the Chargers taking Bubba Bolden. They need a safety pretty badly. We don't know if Derwin James is actually going to be there much longer because he is having a lot of trouble staying healthy right now. And they lost Rayshon Jenkins. Bubba Bolden can play, really strong or free safety. Obviously has the build of more of a free safety, but at times plays a lot more like a strong safety. Coverage is top tier. He's a super physical dude, and he's got great size, or great speed for his size, and his run defense is just something to awe at. But the main issues with him is that his tackling is definitely not on par with where it should be, but there's a lot of issues with some off the field things and some injuries, which is kind of what I think is going to make him fall to this 22 spot. Because if there were none of these, injuries and off the field issues, he'd probably be a top 10 pick because he's, again, just that kind of a talent. This safety class is very, very good after this last year's was very, very bad. And I really like Bubba Bolden, though, here. I think he's a great fit on that Chargers defense at a position of need. So I like this pick here. Then in 23, the Patriots going to take Josh Jobe out of Alabama. I don't think he's going to come out this year, but he definitely could. There's no confirmation as of right now, obviously. He's not small, but he's not big. He has a bit of a bigger build. He's very physical. That is definitely, I think, the strongest aspect to his game. He's very strong and very physical. Great hands and a ton of upside for sure. He shows flashes of greatness. And his run game is also very good as well. He lacks from speed, and his speed is so bad at times that his man looks very, very poor efforted. He almost looks limited in his play at times, which is what has him all the way down here at 23, because, again, if he just didn't act so raw and just had some better speed, he'd be a much, much higher pick. But I think at 23, the Patriots, they have Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson both on contract years this year, so I think they're going to be taking a corner, and I like Josh Jobe here. Obviously, you have the Alabama connection, and I think Belichick would love to try to coach up a guy like Jobe, so I like the pick here at 23. 24, Titans going to grab their receiver here with Justin Ross. I'm pretty sure Josh Reynolds is only on a 1-year contract. They really didn't address receiver because I don't like Des Fitzpatrick in the draft, so I think they will next year. And again, I really like Justin Ross. He's my wide receiver number 4. Once again, he's got that extremely good size, super athletic, very physical, ton of upside, but, just suffers from other things. Again, not that best speed, just not the best route. He runs very good routes sometimes, and then other times just runs very horrible routes. Drops, again, more passes than you like, and he just recently had surgery, so we don't even know if he's going to play any next season. If at most, he's probably going to be out a few games if it doesn't go perfect. So that's something to be concerned about. He might slip out of the first round, but I do really love the fit here with the Titans. Reminds me a lot of Corey Davis. And so I think, the Titans would obviously love to jump on that. So Justin Ross here to 24 to the Titans. 25, the Dolphins are going to pick up their running back for the future. It's kind of tough to judge if there's going to be any first-round running backs next year, and if so, who? If I had to take a bet on any of them, I would say Isaiah Spiller. He's got that ideal size, but also kind of like that middle-of-the-road speed. It's not bad, but it's not good. Very physical runner, but he's a great one-cut power back, kind of like Javonte Williams. When he makes that cut, he's going to punch it into third gear and just zoom past you. And the production has been great for him at Texas A&M so far. But can he truly be that number one back in the class? Can he be that guy that says, I'm worth a first round pick? Because running backs really just aren't anymore. If I had to take a bet on any of those, I'd say Isaiah Spiller. I think he's the guy that, the Dolphins would love to have on their team. I think he's a great fit and someone they should target. So then at 26, the Lions with their second pick from the Rams are going to be picking up Treylon Burks, or maybe it's Treylon. Let me know down below. A guy that honestly I'd never heard about until just recently, and then looked at him, and I don't get the big hype behind him. He's a talented receiver, just like a lot of these other receivers. Got the size, got the physicality, got the athleticism, and got the upside, but suffers from the speed, hands, and just he doesn't make that big of plays and doesn't have that run after the play ability. Very nice catcher, though, all in all. He can be that solid number 2, maybe a number 1 someday. For the Lions picking up a new receiver or a new quarterback, why not get him a new receiver after you upgraded the O-line? And, now you got a pretty decent upside receiving unit with, Treylon Burks and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So why not for the Lions? 27, we got Brenton Cox to the Ravens. I think he'll be a great edge rusher. I know they already picked up Odafe Owe, but you lost Yannick Ngakoue and Matthew Judon. Calais Campbell and Derek Wolfe are only getting older and worse. So you have Pernell McPhee who can start. Odafe will probably start across from him, but I think Brenton Cox can play that outside linebacker role way better than Odafe could, and so maybe you want to move Odafe to defensive end at that point. But regardless, you're getting a pass rush upgrade, very strong and very good in the run defense. he can really play, that defensive end if you really wanted him to. And again, big upside, but there's been a few off the field issues at times. Production has not been the best, and he is definitely raw, but I do still like the pick here for the Ravens. 28, Haskell Garrett to the Browns. I really, really want to put Haskell Garrett higher than this. I really do like Haskell Garrett. The production just hasn't really been there. He's just not played at that top tier level. One thing too is that he's just not the biggest guy, and for being a defensive tackle, you never really want that, of course. I think he has the ability to be able to play like that defensive end role too. They're losing a lot of pass rushers next year. And another thing, he really just relies on his quickness. And even for relying so much on his speed, he's not really that fast of a guy, but there is definitely a ton of upside. He's definitely shown flashes, and if he uses his speed right, he can be a top tier pass rusher in the NFL. We'll just have to see how it goes, but I think 25 or 28 is a very appropriate spot for him to the Browns. I like the pick here. 29, the Cardinals going to be picking up Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. That's 3 Texas A&M players in the first round. Pretty weird for them. He's my second inside offensive lineman. I mean, this is a pick that just, you're losing Brian Winters and Max Garcia, so you'll need to fill in that guard position. And I just didn't really see any other better picks at this point. So I liked Kenyon Green as a pick here. Very physical and a ton of upside. A dominant pass blocker. But just, he's not the best run blocker by a mile, and his size he's not undersized, but he's not a big guy, and he's not facing the best competition there, but I think he holds a lot of upside, and I think he's worth the pick here for the Cardinals. 30, the Chiefs going to pick up Aiden Hutchinson. I think he fits their scheme really, really nicely there in Kansas City. Very athletic and a quick player. Love his arsenal, and again, a ton of upside, but he just lacks from that physicality. Doesn't have that power, and although he's quick, he doesn't have that burst. Still super, super raw, though. Really still hasn't played a lot. We're going to see how he really handles being a number 1 pass rusher with Kwity Paye gone now. So he could jump up a lot higher than this, or he could sink even lower. Definitely a guy that I like a lot less than others, but I still do like Aiden Hutchinson overall. 31, the Buccaneers going to pick up George Karlaftis. I had him a lot higher in my last draft, but he's definitely lowered a lot here. Great power, and he can be an elite defensive lineman. He has the traits and the tools, but he's never, ever going to be an edge, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because you know what you're getting with him. Teams know what they're going to do with him, but he just really has no speed. The best way I can put it is he's heavy-footed. He's not got the best arsenal, and he really is just only like a 4.3 power rusher to me, and that limits what he can do, obviously. But I think, even though the Buccaneers don't run 4.3, I think he can be that defensive end power rusher that they really want. They're losing Suh and their other defensive end next year, so they're going to pick up someone, and I saw Karlaftis as the best pick here to fit their scheme. And that's mostly passing up Myjai Sanders because they already picked Joe Tryon. Speaking of Myjai Sanders, with our last pick of the first round, Buffalo Bills going to pick up Myjai Sanders. Very, very nice size. This dude is a very, very big, explosive player, and there's a lot to love. He is a great pass and run defender, and he can be that 3-4 or 4-3 edge player, which is why I think he can play for the Bills, even though I think he fits better as a 3-4 outside linebacker. But really, I mean, the Bills could use him as not only as a pass rusher, but if they really wanted to, they could transition him to linebacker because he is very good in pass coverage as well. But that's mainly why I think he can play outside linebacker so well for the 3-4 scheme. Definitely lacks from power, and even though he's not raw, he very much acts like it at times. Like he just doesn't know how to use his pass rush moves, even though he has them. It's a very interesting player to figure out. He's my number 6 edge right now and is super versatile, very explosive, and has great size and length, but has yet to put it together. But I think he will this year. Like I said, I think Cincinnati's going to make a playoff run this year, so I think he'll be pretty good. I think he'll be sneaking up into the first round, maybe even higher. But that is my 2022 first NFL mock draft. If you guys liked it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for 300 subscribers. Next goal, 400, so let's get there. Comment me down your 2022 mock if you have one yet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.